Hey, Solomon, how are you? Sorry I'm late. And yeah, I'll address that, not a problem. I have a few videos that I'm working on. Excuse, hold on a second. Ay, 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 ay. Come on. I have a few videos that addresses that. And, you know, when I teach the paradiddle in ground zero, meaning I show you what is occurring with your sticks. But there's different levels of that. And no matter how fast you play a paradiddle in quarter notes or eighth notes or 32nd notes or whatever, triplets, whatever, the motion remains the same. Now, I'm not sure if you viewed any of my instructional videos on the paradiddle. But what I show the paradiddle is just a sticking pattern of right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. And there's two sounds. There's an accented note and a non-accented note. The sticky pattern, like I just said, is right, left, right, left. So what occurs, it's a downstroke. That gives me the accent. Then an upstroke. Then a tap, tap. Downstroke, upstroke, tap, tap. Now I look like a robot there. That's okay. That's what's occurring. Down, up, tap, tap, down, up, tap, tap. No matter how fast you play a paradiddle, that is what occurs. Now, what I'm working on, and I'm going to put together for you, Big Buddha, how you doing, Ed? What I'm going to do, the language has changed for some reason. I call this a three-stroke rough. Some people call it a single three, whatever. But it's just a three-stroke rough, 2/16 and an eighth. 1 E N. 1 E N. Look at the level. 1 E N. 2 E N. 3 E N. 4 E N. Now what happens there is this. No molar technique. Throw that molar nonsense away. This is the laws of physics. I throw the stick down, she comes back. For every action, there's an opposite reaction. The downstroke, the upstroke, tap, tap. Now I have to come up to get the accent. I'm in position. That's the stroking principle. Now, like I said, the three-stroke rough, 2/16 and an eighth. I'm going to accent the first note. I'm going to play, first I'll do it with non-accent. 1 E and 2 E and. Okay? 1 and. Now, that's part of the paradiddle. Now, you're talking about a rebound or a bounce on the last stroke. So I'm going to go. I'm going 1 E and, but the motion is there. I let the and bounce. Now I'm going to do it in quarter notes, eighth notes, sixteenths, and I'm going to attempt it in 32nd notes. 1 and 2. And, all right, in tempo, okay? Molar technique, I don't know, man. If it wasn't for Jim Chapin, there'd be no molar technique, period. That molar thing drives me crazy. This is not molar, downstroke, upstroke. That's the level system. That's why the language is all screwy. It's 1 E and 2, three-stroke rough, or single three if you want to call it that. Now on the and, the last stroke, I bounce. 1 E and. You know who has a good video on this? Is Mike Michalko. Great drummer, man, a good friend of mine. He's really a great drummer and a really top-notch instructor. And he worked it out like this. He went 1 E and 2 E and but he didn't maintain the levels in there, but that's okay. Mike can play the hell out of paradiddles. So I'm going to play quarter notes. 1, 2, 3. Look at the motion. It's there. Now, eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 16ths. I messed that up. I'm sorry. Now here I'm not bouncing. I'm playing it. Eighth notes, depending on the tempo. But the motion stays the same. 16. Seconds. Now the last stroke I'm bouncing. I don't know if you can really hear it on a snare drum. Is that better? I let that last stroke go. 1 in. You hear the bounce in there? Solomon. Is that how you pronounce your name, Solomon? By the way, you're here. Let me explain. If you're going to frequent this is going to be every night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on this channel. You want to get yourself the stick control book, because we're going to be working from the stick control book tonight. All right, the bounce is there. It's not the molar. It's control strokes. I'm releasing the stick. I'm letting it bounce. Now, this is a book that you'd want to buy or purchase, or if you have it, fine. The next guy, and you're going to do a lot of work at it, this guy, the syncopation book, Ted Reed. We're going to take the syncopation book, like not page by page and counting it. We're going to play it syncopated. We're going to learn how to count it. We're going to learn the math. We're going to learn how to hum it, the figure, and we're going to learn how to swing it. So you want to buy that book. Now, what you want to do as well is get the Joe Morello book, Master Studies. Great book for your hands, absolutely. And this will really teach you how to do the level system and put the stick in position before the attack. Great, great information in this book. And one thing I spend a lot of time on is the Gary Chaffee Pattern Series. Can you see that? Pattern Series? Okay. And this particular book is called Time Functions. There's hand technique, there's linear things. This man is a brilliant, brilliant instructor and a great player. I've sat down with this man and he knows what he's talking about. And he has a great reputation. He was he's retired now, but he came out of retirement to teach privately. He was an instructor at the Berklee College of Music, or at that time it was called Berklee School of Music in Boston. Okay? Now, do you have all those books, Solomon? What do we got here? All right, well, you want to address, why does your left hand fall down? Well, I'm not going to take you and say, let's go backwards, but let's talk about why the left hand is failing you. I'm assuming you're right-handed. Okay, that's good. You play matched. All right, that's okay. If I had to start all over again, honestly, and I keep saying this, instead of me learning traditional, because that's how I was brought up, playing the Nard book, all the rudimental things. Those books, the Nard book, they only have 26 rudiments in it. That is like 40, I believe. I don't know who does all this and confuses everybody. All right, now, I play traditional and I play matched, or German, or French. Now I have an issue with my left hand. You have to excuse it. Oh, Jesus. I knew I should have taken the phone off the hook. Excuse me 1 second, gentlemen. That's good. That's right. All these telemarketing phone calls. I should have taken the phone off the hook. But that's okay. I'm speaking louder. Now you could hear me, no? Can you hear me now? Is this loud enough? I need some answers, gentlemen. I believe I'm speaking loud enough. I just had the microphone unclipped because I was going to answer the phone. Can you hear me now? Okay. Now, let's talk about how to get that left hand up to par. All right, I had the microphone off. Sorry. Now, let's talk about the stick control book. When I first got the stick control book, I looked at it and said, oh my goodness, this is a boring book. But it's not. It's where everything comes from. God bless George Lawrence Stone. Now, I have a video on YouTube. Subscribe to it. Subscribe to my channel, and you could look it up. The name of the video is The Way George Lawrence Stone intended the stick control book to be played. Now, there's a lot to talk about with the stick control book because that was going to be part of the lesson tonight. But anyway, when I'm playing the stick control book, and like I said, it was the most boring book I've ever seen, and I put it aside. Not until I went to Joe Morello did he turn me on to, oh man, unbelievable ways to play that. And I'm trying to carry that on and bring it out to everybody and keep his legacy alive. Right? Joe Morello, in my opinion, was the greatest technician in the world. Okay, you might not like him as a player, but I do. I mean, I loved him and I know him one by one, one-on-one. Okay, so now, the stick control book. Your left hand is the issue. Let's take the first line of the stick control book on page 5. It's a run of eighth notes. And by the way, line 1 through 72 is all linear lines. It's straight lines of rhythm. Okay, with a variety of sticking patterns. So now let's take line 1. Now, the way George intended it to be was when I played a right and I played a left, they should sound the same. So I'm equalizing my strength in the right hand and the left hand. I'll do it matched. Okay? But notice my sticks come up. I look like a robot again. Very regimented and military issue, if that's a word. Okay? Now, let me just address the issue again with my left hand. When I was a young boy, about 10, 11 years old, I fell down the stairs, a concrete stairway, with about 8 milk bottles, and they were all glass, and I fell. And I cut my hand. And I had 64 stitches here and about 23 stitches up here. I cannot, let me see if you can see it. I cannot close my hand, my pinky, so I get a numbness occasionally. So when you see me playing matched, you're going to see this occasionally, like this. And that's why I can't play the finger thing with the left hand that way. I can play the finger thing this way because I'm not using that pinky. But now, to get the left hand equalized, you should go to the stick. You got to pay your dues here. You got to get the stick control book equal on both sides. For example, I'm going to play the first line, but I'm going to make adjustments because of the way I'm stroking. I'm going to stroke incorrectly. Now that's my weak hand. All right, the left hand doesn't sound the same as the right. So I make the adjustment to make my right side and my left side equal. Now that's a right hand lead. I go to line 2, same thing, but it reverses the lead. It's on the left. And it does make a difference. Now, stick control book has absolutely no accents in it. The way I'm demonstrating it right now is the way George Lawrence Stone taught that. I go to line 3. I'm going to do right, right, left, left. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But look at the heights of my sticks. They're coming down from the same spot. My right hand's coming down, my left hand is coming down, and back to the same spot. That is the law of physics. The distance is the same for my right, the distance is the same for my left. Therefore, technically and theoretically, I should obtain the correct sound. If I'm doing doubles, a lot of guys do doubles. And that sounds like shit. That's not how you do it. That's not what George Lawrence Stone. He wanted 2 rights, 2 lefts. Now I'm equalizing both sides of me. Okay? Now, that's where you want to start. That's going to take you on a journey to equalize your weaker hand. Your weaker hand is the left hand if you're righty. Okay? Now, if we take, for example, open-handed, they call it open-handed, I call it ambidextrous. The epitome of that, of a performance, is Billy Cobham. Billy Cobham it's not good, Joe, to watch with a phone, but that's okay. This is going to be recorded so you can come back to it and watch the video. All right, anyway, Billy Cobham, man, he's just an incredible musician. He plays both right-handed and left-handed. I call that a true ambidextrous player. It's referred to as open-handed. Now, we're talking about the left hand, and actually we're talking about the left side of your brain. I think it's the right side of your brain controls the left side of you. However that works, I don't really care. But we're talking about the left side of you. Now, you're right-handed, so you're favoring that right, okay? Now, if we played a simple rock pattern, yeah, absolutely Simon Phillips, without a doubt. But I mean, you know, the guy who really put that in the forefront, and Simon Phillips worked hard to obtain that. He really did. But we're talking way back in the 70s and late 60s when Billy Cobham's a great jazz musician, but he played with John, the one really turned me on was with John McLaughlin, The Inner Mounting Flame. I don't know if you're familiar with that album, but on that album, he only had 4 drums. He sounded incredible. Anyway, let me get back to what I was saying about the left-handed, open-handed playing or the ambidextrous playing. However you want to refer to it as, that's okay. When I'm playing, you're playing a simple rock pattern, and I refer to this as the money beat. You're going 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's easy. So I said, okay, I'm strong on that side. Then I go here, I go, I'm weak. So you want to strengthen it. Again, George Lawrence Stone's approach. I'm going 1, 2, right-handed, then I'll go left-handed. 1, 2, 3, 4, back and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want to go alternating right hand, left hand, the sticking pattern, right, left, right, left. Want to do it in line 3, 2 rights, this is the right side, 3, 4, again, and 2 and 3, left hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, back and forth. That's just a pattern you can figure out. Now, another way you want to strengthen that left hand is work the left hand. How do you work the left hand? How do you make that, the ways I'm showing you, the first couple ways here, was your journey getting into it. Let's take George Lawrence Stone's stick control book again, or even the syncopation book as well. Let's start with first of a few terms. Ostinato. Ostinato is a pattern which repeats itself over and over again. Now I'm going to establish an ostinato with my left hand, my right foot and my left foot. All right, I'm going to play it repetitively over and over and over again. Now occasionally I will refer to this as a vamp. Okay, so now if I'm playing my left hand, eighth notes, nice and slow, my bass drum, 1, 2, 3, left foot, heel on top, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we don't want this. That takes away from it. You want to make the left hand, right foot, and left foot musical. Now, where I get these ideas, I'm not playing any kind of music, any particular tune. I'm mathematically taking an exercise. For example, line 1 of stick control book. Now what I want to do, I want to contain, I'm going to reference off the stick control book. And you notice that already because we've done it several times. And I keep doing it to revisit it and reassure everybody that that's happening for them. And I do get the questions. So I'm going to keep revisiting when I need to. So we're going to go back to page 5, line 1, which is 1 and 2 and 4 and. All right, that's what's written. So we're going to say, okay, we're going to play that line, but we're going to eliminate the lefts. So that's going to give me 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. No problem. Now, for this next exercise, and that's how I'm going to reference off the stick control book. I'm going to play on my rights here. What is that noise? Hello? Hold on. All right, so now I'm doing line 1. An ostinato pattern or a vamp. Now I'm going to play line 1. All rights on the floor, tom-tom. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm not overpowering any voice. I'm trying to be as musical as possible. I'm blending in the bass drum, the snare drum, and the hi-hat. The dominant voice is the right hand. Yeah, well, I do that as well, but I'm on this subject right now. You said that you want to strengthen that left hand, so you have to work it. I'll get into that. I do a whole crazy thing with that. I'll show you in a second. Yeah, but I'll play. Here we go, dear Ed, the samba pattern. Okay, 1. There you go. Hold on, I'm sorry. This one here, I'm referencing off the stick control book again, but this time I'm eliminating the rights and playing all the lefts on the snare. Line 2. Line 3. That. Line 4. That. 5. You can play the shit out of it, man. All right, we'll get to that. There's a zillion ways. I'll play down the stick control book because I got this from the Alan Dawson Rudimental Ritual. I'll play down the stick control book with this foot pattern as sticking on a snare drum. That's tough. Okay, but now we're still talking about the vamping, and I just did line 1, and I'm restricting everybody. Right hand on the floor, tom-tom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Line 2, the rights are going to be on the ands now. Line 3, the right's going to be on 1 and 3 and. Got it? Line 5 is cool. I like line 5. Now, what you're doing, I'm playing against my left hand. I'm strengthening that left hand. Now, another way to do this, instead of playing the right hand on the floor tom-tom, let's just use the bass drum, all the rights. Line 1. Line 4. Call it. 5. So what you're doing in essence is you're playing against the left hand. You're keeping that left hand strong. So that's strengthening your left hand. And without even practicing 30-second notes with the paradiddle, you're going to find you have more control with the left hand. You know, taking everything to the left side or to the right side. It's the way to do it. It works for me. It works for all the students I've taught. It strengthens both sides of them. Now, geez, that's a half hour on one subject. That's okay. I have no problem with that. Now, what I wanted to discuss is I want to talk about linear. And I want to talk about, one more thing. No, we won't even go into the syncopation book. Linear. The term linear is, and everybody who don't know it's going to know it now. Those who know it, hey, maybe I'm not addressing it or saying the definition correctly, but it's a straight line of rhythm where no two voices hit at the same time. Now I can play eighth notes like I was doing with the left hand, 1 and 2. That was one measure of eighth notes. Now I could take eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. I didn't break the line of eighth notes, so I moved the voices around. Now, I'm not going to get into the way Gary Chaffee approaches linear concepts. To me, it's a great way. I don't really use that, but I will demonstrate it eventually. What I do is I'll take the brilliance of George Lawrence Stone. Now, what really, really turned me on to this next exercise, or create this exercise, was Elliot Fine and Marvin Dahlgren's 4-way coordination. All right? Great book. Man, it was torturous going through that book. And after about 5 or 6 years, I finally got to the last page and then tried to do it again and again and again. And I said, okay, well, let me take it to another level. And because my primary source of my teaching is from the stick control book, what I'm doing with this now is setting up some sort of system. Now, we could do this 2 different ways. We're going to first off count in eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? When I come to 1 and, all right, it's going to be, when I come to the 1, it's going to be the top. Top meaning I'm going to contain it again. I'm going to restrict it to the ride cymbal and the snare drum. That's the top. The bottom, got it? So if I said every time I come to 1 and, it's the top. Let me do the first line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I do 2 and 4 and is the bottom. So I'm looking at the first line. 2 and is right left and 4 and is right left. So there's going to be 2 and 4 and. So I put it together. Got it? Now, you want to say open-handed. I don't have my other cymbal set up here, so I'm going to use, let me use the snare drum again. Now, you might not think that's helping you, but now you're going to your left side, and you're strengthening that. Okay? So you have line 1 and line 2. Do we understand that? Any questions on that? If there is any questions, please ask, and you shall receive. Solomon, did you ever work out of the, what's his name? Oh, Jesus. The Alan Dawson Rudimental Ritual? Okay, that's fine. Where are you from, Solomon? If you should ever want the PDFs, I got to say this every lesson. Put my email here. Email me. Get on my mailing list. All right, here. Let me put. I hate this shit with this computer. Nothing like one-on-one. I'm referring to the whole book there, Mr. Yorkshire. The whole book. But that's one of the inspirations I got. I got a lot of different other linear exercises from that book, four-way coordination to associate it with the stick control book. I do have quite a few videos on it on YouTube. Another one, let me see if I remember this one. Let me see. Yeah, that's another one. I don't want to deal with that one tonight. But yeah, the book is, I always say, and I got some shit about this, but me, you know, people want to hear the truth, but they don't want to face the truth. I think that George Lawrence Stone was brilliant in the way he laid everything out and all the possibilities of stick control book. Now, there was a gentleman on Facebook, he's on Facebook, and he's all into the groups, and he has a book published, Mastering the Tables of Time. His name is Dave Stanek. Dave Stanek is one hell of an intelligent person, one hell of an intelligent instructor, and a great player, okay? I mentioned this one time, and did I give some static? Only because he studied with, okay, Elliot Fine and Marvin Dahlgren. And I said, I made a statement, all four-way coordination is stick control book on steroids. That's all. Meaning, giving him a compliment, he took it the wrong way. Okay, so we did, let me go back to that linear thing. That's one way I do it. And I'm going to give you another way too, and I have to close up. This is, you know, it's a formula or a method or an approach. Like, or I do a cross harmonic, the same thing. If you guys know what a cross harmonic means, I'm playing my right and left. So now on the one hand, it becomes my right hand and my left hand. Now left foot, left foot. On the two hand, it becomes the snare drum and the bass drum. So it's cross harmonic. So I have, the first guy is right. So that's going to be left. No, wait a minute. Cross harmonic. Oh, gee, what am I doing? It's been a hot day. It's been over 100 degrees outside. Cross harmonic, I'm playing. Harmonic means to play the two notes at one time. That's harmonic, and that's harmonic. Now cross harmonic, I should have did harmonic first. Let me do that first. Harmonic means when I play my right hand, my bass drum is going to play. When I play my left foot, my left hand, my left foot's going to play. So I do line one. Sounds like a polka. That's harmonic. My right hand and my right foot are together. There's other combinations. Line three. Line five. And I can take these up tempo. What's this? Well, come on back, Solomon. Okay? And Gary Chaffee, again, his approach to he'll do groups of 3 and 2, or groups of 3 and 5, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. This is a different approach. We'll get to that. I wanted to do the syncopation, but I don't have time right now, and I sincerely apologize. But anyway, come visit this every night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Wednesday and Monday and Wednesday is on a different site. It's free, so enjoy it while you can. That's my website. I do lessons on there Monday and Wednesday at 7:30. But I'm doing the rest of the week here on YouTube. Hey Ed, I'm sorry about the repeats, but you have to understand that a lot of these guys, they're just now coming, and I'm just giving them a refresher, not a refresher, but a sort of a trailer to what I've been doing. And then soon we're going to take one subject and stay on that. And we're going to do a lot of left hand. We're going to do a lot of open-handed playing. That's from the Gary Chaffee book, Gary Chester book, The New Breed. And there's so much to do. I get too excited, too overwhelmed, and I get too distracted because I take too many subjects on at one time. Now, before I close up, is there any questions? And I'll address them if I can. Hey Ed, how hot was it in Massachusetts today? Because it was over 100 degrees in New Jersey. Mercy. What a day. Okay, Solomon. And whoever else here is here. All these guys are here. I'm sorry I can't address them individually. Okay, no questions. That's good. The more questions I get, the more I could address and explain to you my approach to making whatever it is better. Okay. As soon as I get some lessons, and you'll get my schedule. Yeah, well, it was like winter over there. Over here it was over 100 today, Ed. Oh. I blasted the air condition, and I just stayed in the house. Yeah, it is very humid. Okay, if nobody has any questions, I am going to sign off and come back tomorrow night. And I'm still working on some PDFs again with that John Coltrane's A Moment's Notice and Billy's Bounce from Charlie Parker. All this is just taking too much, of my time, and I'm trying to do the best I can to bring these things out to you guys. So you guys have a good night, if there's no questions, and I will be back tomorrow night at 7:30, and Thursday night at 7:30 as well. Oh. You're welcome, Ed. All right, guys, have a good night. Good night. Practice.